This video is related to one of the 3 key weekly assignments, and that's the 10-question quiz that's due every week. So right here, and this goes for both Econ 1 and Econ 2. If you scroll down, for example, I have Econ 2 up. If you go to week 1, you could see I have quizzes, weekly quizzes due every week. So if you go to week 2, under activities to complete, there is a section called quizzes. There's one 10-question quiz for this particular chapter. If you go to week 3, there is a quiz due on chapter 3. Now, these quizzes, like I said, have 10 questions. Now, I would say 7 to 8 of the 10 questions are very straightforward. What do I mean by very straightforward? I mean that the information you need to find the answer to these questions is either in the textbook, the video lecture, or one of the video questions. You could find that answer directly. Now that leaves 2 questions, 1 to 2 questions, that I would say are a bit challenging. And they're challenging because the information needed is not explicitly in the course materials. In other words, you're going to be asked a question on a core topic, and if you have a thorough and complete understanding of the topic, you should be able to answer that question with little problem. If you are not 100% clear on the concept, you may not be able to find that information in the textbook. This means you're going to have to come to me for some assistance. I hold weekly office hours on Mondays at 7 p.m. You could also email me. And what some students do is they like to print out the 10-question quiz because it's not timed. You just have to submit it by the due date, which is a Sunday. And what they do is they go through all of the questions, and any question that they feel to be complex or difficult, what they'll do is they'll reach out to me to ask for assistance. And that helps me understand how you're doing in terms of the class when we interact in that way. So don't feel discouraged or surprised when you may come to a question or two, no more than 2, that are considered to be challenging. That's just a good signal that you have to seek out help with the instructor, and then we'll go from there. So I just want to prepare you that these questions are pretty straightforward, with the exception of 1 or 2 that need a little more understanding. Now, if you do miss one of those questions that are more challenging, don't despair, because overall the value of the individual questions is rather small, because all of the weekly quizzes, these right here, all of them are worth 10% of your overall grade, which means an individual question is not going to be in any way impactful on your overall grade. What you want to do is, if you miss a question, you want to understand why, because what I do is on the upcoming exams, for example, let's say there's an exam here in Econ 2 in week 6. This is one of the midterms. I take some of those questions in the weekly quizzes, and I change the wording a little bit, and I put them on the midterm. This means if you miss the question in the weekly quiz, you ask for help, you get an understanding as to why you missed it, and then you answer it correctly on the midterm. That is a success. Think of the weekly questions as a study guide for the exams. You want to understand why you got something right and why you got something wrong. If you miss it in the quiz, don't despair, because it's not worth that much. It just gives you an opportunity to understand what went wrong and then be able to answer it correctly on the more valuable, in terms of points, midterm, because you want to get that question right, because it's worth a lot more than the question in the weekly quiz. I hope this helps you understand the logic behind the questions in the weekly quizzes.